What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a recent article that I came across, right? And the article basically, I think it was by, who wrote this article? It was on, let me see. Oh, CNBC, right? And they had an article about the split of Steph Curry from Under Armour, right? And so Under Armour at least a couple years have been having financial issues, right? And I think basically what I think happened with Under Armour is they tried to, they didn't really stay in their lane. Like when Under Armour first came in, people knew them about from like the sports apparel, like the stuff that you wear under those football uniforms and stuff like that, right? And then they tried to branch off into some other things and kind of took their eye off the prize, and I think that's what hurt them. Also, another thing that I think that hurt Under Armour is the fact that Nike is it's just so hard to compete with Nike, especially in that shoe market. It's just hard to compete with Nike. Nike just about, in my opinion, got that shoe market sold up, and so Under Armour made some mistakes. Now, I don't think I think basically what Under Armour had to do, they had to basically what happened with Under Armour and Steph Curry, it was like a layoff, right? The company is having financial issues, and they had a lifetime contract with Steph Curry. But because Steph Curry wasn't selling enough shoes, you know, then and they had to pay him, it probably became apparent to them that like paying him wasn't worth, like he wasn't selling enough shoes to make it worth paying him. And so that's why, like they said it was a split, but in my opinion, it was a layoff. And that's just like any company, like, when the money's not coming in, then you got to make cuts. And to have a lifetime contract with Steph Curry when y'all not selling that many shoes, it didn't make business sense. And so right now, what Under Armour is going through right now is just basically like restructuring and trying to get back to the basics of what got them, what made them popular and successful in the beginning. So I was watching this video, and this video probably was about a few months ago. I was watching this video, this guy named Michael Gitley, and he was talking about the fall of Under Armour, right? And this, like I said, this was a few months ago. Let me see. It says, "Oh, the rise and fall of Under Armour, how a $200 billion brand lost its cool." And so I'm gonna play some of this video, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and give my opinion, my commentary on what is being
The
said.
rise and fall is a pretty fascinating one. In 20 years, the company went from basically an idea in one guy's basement to the #2 sportswear company basically in the world. They were #2 behind Nike. Just an incredible rise. And today, like, things have totally changed. In just a few years, Under Armour is basically an afterthought, and the company's struggling, massive management turnover, and the stock getting pummeled. So in this video, I will talk about the story of the rise and fall of Under Armour and what we as small business owners and entrepreneurs can learn from this, just incredible story. Oh, and a key part of this story is why I'm wearing an Under Armour hat today. I'll tell you about the whole part of it, which may surprise you. So if you are interested in this kind of stuff, learning from things that go right and wrong in business, I am your guy. Please give me a subscribe and a follow, or at least write a comment below that says you think I look funny. It'll make me feel better and help the algorithm show this to more people. So thanks. So Under Armour was started by an entrepreneur named Kevin Plank, and he had been a college athlete at the University of Maryland, and he noticed a personal problem that he had, which was cotton t-shirts were really crappy underneath all of your gear. They tended to fill with water and they just weren't comfortable. So he invented a product that was a compression fitting, moisture wicking t-shirt And basically, it was something that he wanted for his own needs. But it turns out other people wanted it too. And in the first year, he sold $17,000 worth of these shirts. And Kevin kept kind of grinding along as a
All right, so those shirts right there, and I remember, people wearing those. And remember the campaign Under Armour had that was really popular on "We Must Protect This House," and they showed football teams wearing those compression shirts, and that, like he said, that right there is what put Under Armour on the map. Well, that's part of what put Under Armour on the map and helped them to really get their start.
a lot of early stage entrepreneurs do like this, until he got lucky a few years in. A movie called Any Given Sunday basically picked up his article of clothing and featured it. And overnight, that turned into $750,000 worth of sales for his fledgling brand. And fast forward to a decade later, the brand went public. It was doing over $400 million in sales. Just incredible growth in 10 years. And the momentum didn't stop there for Under Armour. They started to introduce new products. In 2006, they created a series of cleats, which were a huge hit. And over the next decade, moving into 2015, the brand grew to almost $3.1 billion in annual sales. And by
All right, so that's where I think Under Armour, like, as long as they were with football, like they had the cleats and they had the compression gear and stuff like that, I thought that was, like, that was their niche, that was their lane, and so they tried to expand, and then I thought, that's what really that's where the troubles come in.
2014, it had overtaken juggernaut Adidas as the #2 sports apparel brand in the world, in the United States as well. And they showed 26 quarters in a row of over 20% growth. Just an incredible run. And if you look at what they did really well during this period, it's something that we see as a pattern over and over on this channel, which is pick something really, really precise that you're going to be really, really good at and just execute the hell out of that one thing. Chick-fil-A does it with chicken. You see In-N-Out Burger do it with burgers. And in the case of Under Armour, they picked a few fitness categories for hardcore athletes, and they just went all in on those.
That's important. I agree with that. Like, if you gotta have a lane, or a niche where you can just, like, and you can dominate that or get really good at that and get noticed. That's how the people, that's how those people from that movie, Any Given Sunday, that right there was his product was aesthetically a good look for for that football movie. So, and that's how he caught on.
And they did them really, really well. But at this point, it's where Under Armour started to make some missteps. And the very first of those was forgetting their identity. In this case, they decided, well, we're going to be a technology company. And they started to acquire all these kind of tech-enabled products, MyFitnessPal and all this other Map My Fitness. I can't even keep track of them because I don't use any of them. But they started to forget that they were an apparel and sportswear company and started to become this thing that, well, I guess was going to be a tech company. And it was easy for them to do this because the stock market still loved them. They were doing huge amounts of revenue. They had Steph Curry as a promoted athlete. Like, it was good times.
All right, so yeah, I had no idea though that they had tried to go into the tech market. Maybe far as like those watches are concerned, like, the Fitbit watches where you can track your heart rate. You can see how many steps, and you can monitor your steps and stuff like that. Maybe that's what the idea behind that was, though. All right, let me continue.
2016, when the stock market values you at $20 billion and your revenue is nearly $5 billion a year, it's easy to get kind of full of yourself and think that you as Under Armour are a brand that just can't lose and start throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars buying fitness apps. But as often the case in business, wins in one area does not guarantee wins in other areas, and it's easy to get overconfident. And looking back at the story here, I can see why folks in the Under Armour world would think that they couldn't be beat and they were going to take these big bets and become a tech company. But in retrospect, it seems totally crazy.
Yeah, see, and that's I think that's where Under Armour made their mistake. Also, I want to say about what happened with Under Armour too, in my opinion. Their tennis shoe, is not like they have Steph Curry. I don't know who else in the NBA they had, but they got Steph Curry. And Steph Curry really, to me, like the tennis shoes that they give him really are not really, they don't look all that good to me. And so they have all of their eggs in one basket as far as, trying to get Steph Curry to promote it. Steph Curry is a big athlete, but I don't think that, he can't sell, he couldn't bring it up. They wanted him to be like their Michael Jordan. And it just didn't work out that way. Like Reebok had Allen Iverson, right? Allen Iverson sold a ton of, shoes, a ton of shoes. Those what are the answers? Man, I remember when those hit the market, and those shoes still really are really popular, those Allen Iverson shoes. But even with that being said, Allen Iverson is only one person. And you need more than just one person, one exceptional athlete for your brand to, to continuously grow. And they had all their eggs in the Steph Curry basket, and that just wasn't enough, for them, especially for them to be able to compete with Nike. Like Nike just don't have Michael Jordan. They have, they got Carmelo Anthony. They have what's the guy name? They had plenty of big name ball players, Nike do. So it's just not about Michael Jordan now. Now Michael Jordan, when you think of Nike, he's the first one you think of. But Nike just got a ton of a lot of basketball players that they are with their gear, and Under Armour tried to go into that lane, and it's hard to break into that. Like the guy said, I think, in my opinion, I think if Under Armour had stayed with football, made that their primary base, they probably could have, they wouldn't have had as much problems as they did. But splitting with Steph Curry, in my opinion, is more so of a layoff than it is like, because if Steph Curry was selling shoes, enough shoes to help save the company, then there would be no need to split with Steph Curry. So they had to let Steph Curry go because they couldn't afford to pay him, and that's what it was. So that's my take on it. Man, y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.